Have you ever been standing at a bus stop, minding your own business, and one of those big boxy buses with a completely flat front just rolls up, like someone took a regular bus and simply ironed the front of it? And you thought, why though? Why does that bus look like it tried to go through a car wash that wasn't quite wide enough? Why does it look so aggressively rectangular? Well, my friend, you are in the right place. Today we are going deep, gloriously, nerdily, enthusiastically deep into the world of flat front buses. The history, the science, the genius behind the design. And I promise you, by the time this video is over, you will be the most interesting person at every dinner party, every family gathering, and every bus stop for the rest of your life. Let's go. To really appreciate the flat front bus, we need to go back, way back, all the way to the early 1900s, when the very first motorized buses were hitting the streets. And honestly, they were adorable. They looked like someone took a horse-drawn carriage and said, "Horses are canceled," and bolted an engine to the front. They had long hoods, curved fronts, and they basically just looked like enormous cars that had skipped too many days at the gym. Now, this made sense at the time. The engine sat up front, just like in a car, and the hood covered it. Simple, logical, totally fine. Except, it wasn't totally fine, and here's why. As cities started growing, and growing fast, transit authorities needed buses that could carry more people, navigate tighter streets, and run more efficiently. And engineers kept running into the same annoying problem over and over again. That big engine hood up front was basically just dead space, wasted real estate, a giant metal roommate who paid no rent and contributed nothing to the household. So the question became, what if we just moved the engine? Here's where it gets exciting. In the 1930s, American bus manufacturers, particularly the brilliant minds over at General Motors, started playing with a radical new idea. What if the engine went in the back of the bus, or even underneath the floor? And what if, without that hood in the way, the entire front of the bus could be completely flat? Guess what? It worked beautifully. By the late 1930s and into the 1940s, these transit buses were rolling through American cities with that signature flat nose, and people went absolutely wild for them. City after city adopted the design. By the 1950s and 60s, GM rolled out their legendary New Look transit bus, nicknamed the Fishbowl by drivers and riders because of its panoramic windows, and it became one of the most iconic vehicles in American transportation history, flat front and all. But it wasn't just America. Across Europe, Asia, and beyond, transit engineers were independently arriving at the same conclusion: ditch the hood, flatten the front, move the engine. The logic was just too good to ignore. By the mid-20th century, the flat front transit bus had gone from a quirky experiment to the global standard. And the reason it stuck around? Oh, we're getting to that. Okay, folks, this is the part of the video where we put on our imaginary engineer hats and get into the why. Because the flat front bus isn't just a stylistic choice, it is a masterclass in practical, thoughtful design. Let's break it down. This one is so obvious once you hear it that you'll wonder why it took engineers so long to figure it out. When you remove the engine from the front of the bus, you free up a significant amount of interior space. On a traditional front-engine bus, the engine and its housing can eat up several feet of what could be seating area. On a flat-nosed bus, the driver sits right up near the front axle, and every single inch behind them is usable passenger space. In the world of public transit, space equals capacity, and capacity equals the ability to move more people more efficiently. More passengers per trip means fewer buses needed on the road, which means lower operating costs and a happier city budget. It all starts with that flat front. Here's something we can probably all agree on. When you're operating a 40,000-pound vehicle through a busy city street, visibility is kind of important. With a traditional hood up front, drivers had a significant blind spot directly in front of the vehicle, which, when you're in stop-and-go city traffic surrounded by pedestrians, cyclists, and people who think red lights are merely suggestions, is a genuinely dangerous problem. The flat front design essentially eliminates that blind spot. The driver's cab sits right at the front of the bus, giving them a commanding panoramic view of everything happening directly ahead. Cyclists, kids, that guy who just stepped off the curb while staring at his phone, the driver can see all of it. This isn't just a convenience. It's a real, measurable safety improvement that has saved lives. Full stop. Have you ever watched a bus driver parallel park one of those massive vehicles perfectly flush against a curb in one smooth motion, like it was nothing? It's honestly one of the most impressive things a human being can do, and the flat front design makes it significantly easier because the driver can see exactly where the front of the bus is, right there, just past the windshield. Maneuvering becomes much more intuitive, making sharp turns, pulling precisely up to bus stops, squeezing through narrow city corridors. All of it becomes more manageable. Cities with dense urban layouts especially love this. Less scraping, fewer accidents, smoother service for everyone. This one is close to my heart. Because the engine is no longer hogging the front of the bus, designers have much more freedom when it comes to floor height. Many flat-front transit buses feature dramatically lower entry floors, which makes boarding and exiting so much easier for elderly passengers, people using wheelchairs or mobility aids, parents with strollers, and anyone carrying a week's worth of groceries in bags that are definitely cutting off circulation to their fingers. Public transit only works if everyone can use it. The flat front design has been a quiet hero of accessibility in cities around the world, making buses more welcoming and inclusive without making a big fuss about it. Here's a bonus one your mechanic would appreciate. With rear-mounted or underfloor engines, many flat front buses are designed so that the engine can be accessed, or even completely removed, from the back of the bus. This means mechanics can work on the engine without crawling around the front of the vehicle. And in some designs, the entire engine can be swapped out quickly during maintenance. Less downtime, faster fixes, buses back on the road sooner. Everybody's happy. Look, I'm not going to pretend this isn't a factor. There is something undeniably bold and confident about a flat front bus. It doesn't apologize. It doesn't taper or curve or try to be aerodynamic. It just shows up, completely flat-faced, and says, I am here, I am a bus, I have 17 stops to make, and I am built different. That energy? Unmatched. So there you have it, my wonderful, curious, bus-enlightened friends. The flat front bus, born from 1930s ingenuity, perfected over decades of urban transit evolution, and still going strong today because it is genuinely, brilliantly, beautifully practical. Better visibility, more passenger space, easier maneuvering, improved accessibility, faster maintenance, and a face only a city could love. Next time you're standing at a bus stop and one of those glorious flat-faced machines rolls up to greet you, give it a little nod, maybe even a salute, because that bus earned it. If you enjoyed this video, please smash that like button, drop a comment telling me what everyday mystery you want me to tackle next, and subscribe so you never miss an episode. Until next time, stay curious, stay kind, and I will see you on the next one.